children between the ages of 0 to 18 years of age. I think in the last 90 days, we've had 5 new babies born in Journey Church. So what I've been saying to my trustee team is that, hey, we got to make a bigger nursery because we see the baby boom coming. A part of the 4 locations, a part of the hero has been to lead a church for me that's not looking necessarily to minister to my generation. I was born in 1969, so I was in that second or that third group that Dr. Poe talked about. I'm not in that hip hop generation. I have real issues even with the name of Young Boozy or Kendrick Lamar. I think he performed, was it at the Super Bowl? I didn't understand not a word of the rap he said. I didn't understand a word of it, and I have to go download the lyrics and whatnot. But I did feel passionate about creating a worshiping community, a church that ministered and reached out and brought together community, perhaps of persons that may not have the same interests as me. I just felt like my time before God was now, but that time was not just to be ministered to me, but to reach out to that other community that was emerging around Journey. So there were several bold moves that we made. One, for me, which was essential in starting a church, and that is having a coach. I believe myself to be, to some degree, with a average to above average gifts for ministry, much of which came from my seminary experience, came from my upbringing, also came from perhaps some of the things I brought from a previous career in corporate America. But without that coach helping me to see the field and see it from a different perspective, just like Michael Jordan, just like LeBron James, all of those persons had influential and great coaches to help them maximize their skill. And I'm not certain, especially amongst sometimes pastors, we may be reluctant to reach out to a coach, but it has saved my ministry. One thing I pledge and myself, and I have a great fear of being mediocre. I don't ever want to be that pastor where the church wants me gone. You know, we've all grown up. We've all seen people, pastor, oh, if he's the bishop moving, but in our context, Candace is a DS, and the bishop, the DS come and get him, we'd be glad. I never want to be that person. And I think a coach will help you identify and hone in on your strengths, but also help you identify with your weakness. So having a coach was very helpful for me in establishing Journey Church and seeing that a new church start is 180 degrees diametrically opposed to what you would get in a traditional church. Everything, and one of the coaches that I love to death always talked about countercultural thinking, or counterintuitive thinking, which means whatever your instincts might be telling you to do, possibly you might want to do just the opposite. Even those persons that come on initially. We had a great launch team of about 20 persons. I think 2 of those persons are still at Journey now, 2 of those families. And a big part of that initial launch team were people that came on board and liked it to be small. We had a room similar to this, and they enjoyed being in that room. They couldn't see me casting a vision for perhaps this entire building and more people coming, because they enjoyed just having me as their personal pastor and or chaplain. And then I had to reach back and think about, well, from what my father pastored, and perhaps from what I enjoyed being there. I enjoyed knowing that. I enjoyed having that one-on-one interaction. But as your ministry and as your church grows, especially for us to those 4 locations, the second thing in terms of bold moves, my leadership had to shift. It was a lot different ministry in the warehouse, if you look at your card, than it was at Longleaf Middle School. Longleaf Middle School, when you break down and set up a gymnatorium, which we called it each and every day on Friday nights and on Sunday, required a major movement, a major volunteer movement, and we had a lot of high burnout. So leadership at 50 was different than leadership at 400. That model of ministry that we knew as a pastor-led is no longer relevant at 400. So a bold move for us and a bold move for me was beginning to help shape the minds of the leadership and those that were coming, and to begin learning how to do that at a different level. The third bold move was building and being honest with that leadership team and moving beyond those persons that were not, in my word that I would use, contagious. At some point, you know those persons on your team that are not going to go out and really take seriously the commandment to make disciples and to go therefore into the world and really have a contagious spirit. They enjoy being settlers, and which is a natural part of, I think, where a lot of persons are, but you have to be willing, and as I was in terms of journeying those four moves, being willing to say, hey, know that some people are going to start out with you, but they may not be with you until the end. They're there for a season. So sometimes we say a journey, some people come to journey, and because it is a journey, some come through. It's just like going back to your high school class reunion. There's some people you kept in contact with, and or like me, you probably don't keep in contact with any of them. But I have college friends. Some I keep in contact with, some I want to see again. Seminary. Now, I love all my friends that we were in seminary with because we all love the Lord. And so you always want to keep those persons. So Journey Church, 4 locations, 4 bold moves, and as you see there on the card, Easter is always our next level that we're looking to grow toward, which also is another bold move, and we're making preparations right now even to make that happen. So I'm going back and continue to make heroes and to put other persons in that leadership position to take this ministry to another level in Christ. 3 minutes.
That was a great 3 minutes. Give a hand to y'all.